Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome back to the final panel talk this evening. And this is a tribute to Ramon Hofileña. And why is Ramon, important? That's because regionally, outside of Manila, Ramon Hofileña was an arts advocate, an art collector, and also a printmaker. And he did some very interesting projects and workshops starting back in the 70s. So there is some importance for us here in the regional Negros Occidental, and we'd like to tell you how and why through some stories. And the stories will be told by Gilbert Nemenzo, who knew him quite well. So welcome to the talk, Gilbert. And this is live from Negros Occidental. Gilbert.
Yes. Hello.
Hi,
Good evening.
Gilbert.
Hello po. Magandang gabi po sa lahat. So, Miss Angela, good evening, and to all our viewers. And I'm very thankful for this opportunity for me to be able to somehow give a tribute to my boss, Ramon Hofileña. And I'm very thankful to Cartilino and Fundación Sanso and Association of Printmakers of the Philippines for giving me an opportunity to somehow, you know, shared advocacies that my late Ramon Hofileña, my boss, no, had shared to Negros Occidental, and not just here in the province, but also as well in as all over the Philippines. Thank you
Hmm.
so much.
Uh, Gilbert, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The relationship you had from the stories you've said, he was not just a boss, he was also a friend and a
Yes.
mentor.
Yes.
So just briefly, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Ano man,
So
your background.
yeah. Thank you so much. So uh I'm in an academe for 7 years already in a private school here in Negros, Colegio San Agustin Bacolod, and I was a assistant tour guide of Ramon Hofileña. No, I was his sidekick for almost a decade, and as what Miss Angela have shared to you, that he is not just simply plainly my boss whom I can get my salary, no, but he is also a very a caring friend, and as well as a father to me, whom I considered really a very important role that the uh, played in my life. Uh, Not just simply because he sent me to school, but also give me some lessons in life, which until now I really I can use in my own family. Maybe.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
Sermon.
We're going to go on to the next slide, and that's where we're going to start to tell the story, no, of Ramon, and we'll start with his life. So Ramon Hofileña is actually I'm related to him, and I found out later on that pariente, and that's through family genealogy. Here in Negros, the families are interrelated. So Ramon Hofileña was born in January 31, 1934, and he died earlier this year in July. His parents were Manuel Severino Hofileña and Hilda Ledesma Ojilla. And that's how my relationship is with him. Those two pictures, portrait pictures there, are their, Tito Ramon's grandparents, because it is his grandmother, Bonifacia Celis Ledesma, who is related to my great grandmother. So Tito Ramon, call him Tito, was actually my mother's second cousin. Now Ramon was the second of 9 children, 6 girls and three boys. He was actually number 2. Next slide. That's a picture of the family. So he studied at the Ateneo de Cagayan as a teen and Ateneo Manila for college. But he would return home to Silay in Negros because families would send their children to study in Manila. He was usually the chaperone of his sisters because 6 sisters, they would go to parties and gatherings, so he was the chaperone. So in this picture, he is the tallest and in the middle, the second son. He was
I'll
also a go on.
Yeah, I just want
You
to
go.
add that just an additional trivia about the family, and I'm very happy. Nine of them, no, nine of them, they are all into arts. No, most of them are
Ah,
performing artists. Yes, and Ramon is into theater and so on. The rest are pianists, no, dancers, ballet dancers,
ah.
violinists, and so on. So their family is really into arts.
Oh,
Yes.
that's good. Um, uh, I think by name, later by detail, it would be possible to match them to their talent.
Mm,
Um, what we have here is that Ramon was also an avid photographer. So he took a lot
yeah.
of candid photographs of his siblings and he won some photography contests. He also had a dark room
Yes.
in his, at home. So
Naabutan ko.
next, oh, nakita mo.
Yes.
Next slide. So we're going to fast forward to 1968, where I found a lot more information about him. No, that he was a good swimmer for the Ateneo de Manila swimming team and also
Mm,
track and field. And he
yes.
founded the Ateneo Camera Club. He was also a painter and he had collected over 200 works of art. And that's for both local artists, Filipino artists, as well as international artists. And he had already mounted two shows in Silay by that year, 1968, the 16 Young Artists of the Art Association of the Philippines, AAP, and the Hechanova Himala two-man show. He already has starting his career of hosting and exhibiting artists from Manila to come to Negros. He was also an antique collector and a record collector with over 1,000 LPs, vinyl records. And they were mostly Broadway shows, Broadway musicals. He was a writer, a journalist, and a reporter for a newspaper in Manila. He had also worked in PR for an ad agency. He was knowledgeable in the arts, and that's why he was asked to be like a host for greeting people who would come in from abroad in Manila, because he was knowledgeable about almost everything. He was such a good host that way. And next slide. So from Manila, from working abroad, Ramon came home to Silay.
Mm.
And maybe after I just mentioned that, you told me there was a family business to take over, Gilbert, could you say something about that when he decided to return to Silay?
Mm. Actually, Ramon really fell in love with New York now. He is based in New York, and he really fell in love because it's the center of the world now, the New York. And he would often share his stories about what he did in New York and the life, no. And but the family really needs someone, no, to take charge of their business now.
Mm.
They have the gasoline station and of course the farm. So Ramon has no choice but to come back to Silay. And that's how Ramon discovered that noticed in Silay, no? Hindi niya naabutan yung hindi niya na naabutan yung the most beautiful plaza in all over the Philippines. Kaya na ano siya nang hinayang siya na sayang no, sayang yung
Mm-mm.
nangyari sa
Mm-mm.
sa plaza and he also noticed, observed that the old houses in Silay were turned into bungalows because yung modernization and so on. So
Mm-mm.
Ramon uh, feel that there is a need to educate the community, to educate the
Mm.
people on
Mm.
the importance of art and the historical houses. No,
Oh,
so
let's go to the next slide, because this is where I think he started making the home, the family home where he was living,
yes, po.
into a museum. So this is the Hofileña Heritage House, no? So could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, no. So this is the Hofileña Museum, no? They call it already now. Ramon changed it to a museum. So uh, para kasi sa kanya parang heritage house daw exclusive sa family, but if it's a museum it's open for everybody, so change na nila ngayon. So basically yung bahay is has an influence, American influence, Antillean house, and it was built in 1934. And if you have noticed, Ramon would always share the difference between the old houses in Vigan and that of Silay, and how he would often mention that in Silay, the houses are built in order to suit the environment. Na? And if
Mm,
you have noticed, napakalaki ng bahay, no, malalaki yung mga bintana and all, no. The
mm,
architects during that time really give emphasis on ventilation, air, and of course yung illumination, which is light. That's why mayroong mga stained glass and all, and you have the ventanillas, the calados to circulate, no. And then the house, until now it's still inhabited. Okay, and it's open to
mm,
public. And
mm,
imagine during 1962, I think 5 or 4 families is living in the house, and Ramon really took the courage to open it to public. This is
mm,
the first step that Ramon did in order to educate the people, and it was open to the public for free during that time, no? And
mm,
this is where he started to educate people on the arts and the preservation of the heritage houses. And
mm,
if you can see here in the first floor, of course, if you're going to enter to the house, the beautifully curved hagdan or the stairs is the oldest part of the house. That's still it is part of the old house of the great grandparents. And take note, all the all the furnitures in the house are all original. That is something very unique and very interesting with the house. And
yeah.
you are going to enter to the house, you will really feel, and you're going to look back what kind of people living in that house before, no?
Na,
And yes,
oh,
uh,
Namigid, because you were the tour guide, so you knew all the details in all the rooms, especially on the first floor.
yes,
So at this point, it's like we hope that viewers, when they come to Silay, to Negros Occidental, it's near Bacolod, that they will visit this because it's still a museum that has been well preserved. And we're going to take them through the tour of the
yes,
second floor because of all the amazing um,
yes,
things there that Ramon had collected and will show. So
yes,
on the first floor, there are several
yes.
rooms, several
Mm-hmm.
collections.
And
But
there's a
we're gonna,
library.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna move on to the second floor, no? So next
Uh,
slide. This is
yes.
Ramon Hofileña, the art collector. And this, when I visited it, I was like, what is this collection? Grabe.
Mm.
Ah, the names, of the artists. If you can tell us something about this collection, Gilbert.
Yes. So Ramon collected artworks that for him really speaks about the artist, no? And they really a promoter of what is called the originality of each artist. And he's good friends of mostly of the national artists. So yung sa gitna ng ano, yung parang alley ano, sa hallway doon sa second floor, doon makikita yung vast collection of artworks or yeah, collection ni Ramon, no? So we have sketches of Juan Luna, Hidalgo, and Fabian de la Rosa. And we have even a drawing of our national hero, Jose Rizal. And
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
works such as the first national artist for painting, Fernando Amorsolo.
mm-mm.
And yeah, that's the second painting he bought now, and that's I think only 250 pesos if I'm not mistaken during that time. And
Wow.
you got there Manansala, big Manansalas painting, Bueva, sculptures of a Bueva. You have Angkyoko, and yeah, Ricardo Puruganan, uh, Arturo Luz, and many many more pa. H.R. Ocampo, okay, and
Yeah,
then
that wall,
yeah.
gallery wall, was in a bedroom, diba?
Yes, these are all prints by the father of printmaking in the Philippines, a very close friend of Ramon, Manuel Rodriguez Sr. So these are
Oh,
all
as
prints. Yes.
um, I have to go back then. I have to go see it, for myself, all
Oo,
those prints, no? So
yes
sana
po.
you'll give me a personal tour, huh? When it's safe. Gilbert,
Yeah, sige po.
ne- we have to go on next slide because there's more.
Yes.
Um,
So,
this is still on the second story, no? Second
yes.
floor.
Mm. So,
Mm,
yeah. So here, Ramon is pointing to an artwork done by an unknown artist here in Silay. No, the name is Conrado Hudiz. He is an unstudied artist. So you can see here that Ramon really don't really look into the qualification of the artist. No, but he sees it in the eyes of art and appreciating the talents of the artist. So yeah, you can see here the old lady oftenly mistaken as a charcoal paint, but this is a different no this is black crayon and then white I'm black paper on white crayon, I mean. So you
uh,
can see here that Ramon discovered this artist accidentally, no. Si Conrado Hudit, ano na, patay na siya nung na-discover siya ni Ramon. So when he came to that house of Conrado Hudit, the paintings were spread all over, no, without frames and so on. So the rain will come in, the sunshine. So so ang ginawa niya is sinave niya yung mga artwork na
mm,
binili
mm,
sa
mm.
pamilya and so on. And some were left to the family.
I,
And
he
yes,
mounted a show. He mounted,
yes,
diba, a
yes.
show
Uh,
for
it
all the
also
works of
for
him.
a posthumous tribute to the artist Conrado
Mm-mm,
Hudit. In order to support the family of the artist, Conrado Hudit used to paint for the movie houses. That's the way, no, means of living ni Conrado Hudit. So, of course, hindi pa ganoon ka appreciative yung community when it comes to hindi pa knowledgeable. So, isa yan sa mga gustong in-highlight ni Ramon that the talents and sila nons I really thankful for Ramon for awakening
mm-hmm.
the ano and
The the
yes
last the last
that
picture, may
yeah.
collection si Tito Ramon of portraits of himself.
Yes, no. So these are all works of Lamberto Echanova, a good friend of Ramon. So you can see here, there's only one face here, but in the real picture, in the real painting, I mean, if you come close, there are many faces that will appear here. There's a very nice painting, very unique. No, he often
Mm-mm,
tag Mr. Lamberto Echanova as a very an artist, no, parang imaginative, very
mm,
explorative na painter.
mm,
And yung sa baba naman, that's Ramon, because Ramon played as Judas and Christ in a play. So the
mm,
artist made him a gift, no? And each
mm.
painting is there, it's less than 5 minutes each. Ganon siya kabilis, no? And then
Wow.
many
Yeah.
people, yes, uh,
Oh, let's
may
go on
fly
to the
out
next.
once.
Oh, so this one is a news clipping, no? Uh,
Mm-mm.
Ramon Hofileña as the art advocate, because he is announcing exhibitions by uh, national artist Vicente Manansala in the early 1970s. And when he would bring them to Silay, the whole community of Silay would welcome the national artist. So this is a one-man exhibition. And
Mm.
the next slide will show that something about the relationship between Ramon and his best friend Vicente Manansala. Can you say
Mm.
something about that?
So, Ramon asked for as a one-man show for Vicente Manansala, but the problem oftenly during that time is that Vicente Manansala cannot collect artworks. Hindi siya makatipon ng mga artwork para sa exhibit kasi bago matapos yung kanyang obra ay nakasign na yung collector sa likod. So wala siyang choice. But for Ramon, he made an exception. So that's why he was able to have a exhibit in cultural in civic center
Silay.
in Silangit. And then there's a plan to have another show, but it was not pursued. And then I think Vicente Mensala died. And that is
Oh.
how you can see that the relationship of Ramon with the artist and the community, no, involved talaga yung community during
Mhm.
that time sa kanyang mga art promotions and so on. Even Manuel Rodriguez also did a parang uh, printmaking workshop. Kaya nga napagawa
Mm-hmm.
yung ano, napagawa
Mm-hmm.
yung machine, no?
Oh,
So and then
let's move on. Oi, 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 oi. Don't give too much
okay,
away. Okay, next slide. La art advocacy also in
mm,
1975.
yes,
No, he put up the show honoring the top Negros contemporary artists of the day. So he was also like appreciating, but also wanting to exhibit Negrense contemporary artists from Negros. So
mm,
we have one in the middle, and I'm sorry, I think my eyesight is suffering here. But
mm.
can you see that,
Yeah,
Gilbert?
it's Mr. Larry Tronco,
Larry Tronco,
and then
and
Lino
then
Severino, Lino
yes,
Severino.
Lino Severino, and they were major artists of that time. No,
Uh,
so this
90.
is a catalog that he wrote and produced for the show. So next slide. He's still an art advocate. Now we have the Ramon Hofileña, the printmaker, and why he is so important for this print fair. Why I'm bringing you and I are bringing him to the attention of printmakers. Um, the Hofileña House is home to the Silai printmaking workshop. It was started in 1972, the first printmaking class that happened outside of Manila in Silay. And it was also conducted classes by Ramon Hofileña and Miss Beth Gaston Pui. Can you
Yes.
say something about Miss Pui?
Mm. Miss Gaston Puy used to be a uh, student ng kanyang ano, ng kanyang kapatid na sa piano. So nakita ni Ramon na nandun si Ma'am Beth, and then Ma'am Ming Maravilla shared that Ma'am Beth Puy studied in for art, no? Mayroon siyang ano sa art. And then Ramon asked her to be a ano instructor also, no? Na
Mm-hmm.
kasama sa pagtuturo ng ano sa mga bata, parang assistant ni Ramon. So,
Yes.
dalawa sila na tulong-tulong sa pag-teach ng mga bata. And it usually the printmaking lesson usually conducted every Saturday and Sundays.
Mm-hmm. Weekends.
Doon sa bahay mismo sa museum. Oo.
Oh, good, good. Next
And
slide. Next slide. Ayan.
mm,
This is very famous,
ah,
and the etching press, and it's still there. Can you make cuento about it?
oo. So this printmaking machine, this is a locally fabricated machine by the help of the former first lady during that time, and this was used by Manuel Rodriguez Sr. and Ma'am Beth Puy as well as Ramon Hofileña, and we usually make a quick demo for the tourist uh, as an introduction for them to be able to appreciate the prints upstairs. So tinuturo
Ah,
namin yon ang ginagamit namin yung itong machine na ito. Oo.
next slide. Oo.
Yan. So
Go
ito
ahead.
naman po, yeah, ito naman po ay print na gawa ni Ramon, and there are 18 editions, okay, of this is he called this the village church in Peru. Now, one thing very significant with this print is that it speaks about the Ramon's idea on print, or in general as an artist. He wanted that originality na lalabas sa isang artist. Sabi niya, kadalasan sabi niya dito, ah, okay yun na mag-copy yung mga bata ng mga artwork ng mga masters, no? But just for practice, but to exhibited it as their own, he would say that's a no, sabi ni Ramon Hofileña. So dito in-emphasize ni Ramon na nung pagpunta niya sa Peru, nakita niya itong church, village church in Peru. So he doesn't want to put into the artwork yung ano makikita niya sa mata, but on how he feels and the idea and he feels nung nagpunta siya diyan. Kaya kung napapansin po ninyo yung obra niya ay yung cross crooked, and then there was no once when if there's no even single leaf na makikita dyan. So it's all barren, no? It's the weather. And then if you've seen the lines, no, that symbolizes the strong winds that yung yung wind na nasisira nga yung cross na nasa itaas. So the bottom line is that kapag gagawa ka daw ng obra, okay lang na ano, yung mailagay mo yung nasa feeling mo, yung gusto niyang yung importance diyan, no? Mailagay yung feeling at yung ideas mo din sa artwork. So yun din yung kanyang parang ini-encourage every time may mga turista na dadalaw sa bahay to value originality and self-expression as well.
That's so nice to say, that he would encourage originality, but yet also know the classic process first, no?
Yes.
With his printmaking workshops. So he was starting to teach the children
Yes.
very, very well. Next slide, because this is what happened, no? There we talked about originality. The children's works, are they still at the museum? And
Yes, yeah. Nasa ano sa isang cabinet na nakita namin doon ni Ma'am Beth yung pagpunta niya. So and even Ma'am Beth, we can still recognize whose work is it.
wow,
Oo.
that's great. That's
Ganda,
great.
oo.
That's great. Next slide. So what happened was that in 1973, this is a first children's print show at the Cultural Center of the Philippines. And
Yes.
this is Manuel Rodriguez, the father of printmaking, Philippine printmaking, congratulating the youngest printmaker, Jackie Gamboa, during the opening, the first children's print show at the Cultural Center. So then you have Ramon Hofileña on the far left and Miss Beth Puy, and then the young children who traveled all the way to Manila for that show. So
Yes.
this is, and I know a few people here, Rina Gamboa locally and her brother, Danny Gamboa. So this is so interesting that there's such a heritage in Silay, for the arts and for the children who are now adults. Next slide. So we continue on with some of his passion. You can say something more, Gilbert?
Okay. So even though the printmaking lessons stopped already, but it continues to educate the people, especially the tourists who will come to the house, and uh, then you would always say that the each edition is still original. So pina-emphasize niya that it's not less than the paintings na. So original pa rin 'yon. At saka sabi niya yung mga famous artists like Dürer, Rembrandt, yung mga ganun na mga artists are also into prints. Kaya
Tama, tama.
sabi niya ganun. So, yung mga tao naman na walang ideya, parang magkakaroon ng interest. Kaya pagpunta sa taas, sa second floor, they will be amazed of mayroon dong isang print ni Francisco Goya and yung kay Manuel Rodriguez Sr. and then yung parang yung stone na plate na ginawa ni Malansala, yung kanyang obra nandoon din. So and then so nagkakaroon ng interest yung mga tao kahit hindi inclined into arts. And I'm very privileged to to be gifted by Ramon ng kanyang yung obra niyang yung village church in Peru.
Ganda, ganda. You're so lucky. No. Next slide. Next slide. So what happened is at the same time he was also doing the museum and arts appreciation. He really developed it into a heritage advocacy, yung heritage homes ng Silay area. So he would also do local tours in the Silay region, the Negros Occidental, Bacolod to Victorias, and he would do landmark tours. Did you ever lead any of these tours with him, Gilbert?
Yeah, I attended at least I think 3 of the cultural tours, and the longest running cultural tour sa sabi palagi ni Ramon niya, no? And I think wala pa daw na katulad niyan sa Philippines na gano'n katagal, no? And this is very important because Ramon would always share what Negros na meron tayo sa mga especially yung mga taga Manila na mag-attend ng tour. And he uh, from 1972 to 2012, the longest running cultural tour offers the tourists, no, informations and historical facts about Negros, no? We started in
Mm.
Bacolod, no? We start in kilometer zero and the importance of that marker, the lagoon and so on. And then we go to Talisay. Why is it that there's a monument? The importance of the monument, and then we passed by Talisay, then Silay, and in Silay we visited Bernardino Halanduni Museum, and of course the Hofileña Museum. And then
Mhm.
we straight back to, straight for to Victorias. And then here in Victorias, it would explain the sugar industry, the importance of sugar cane into our province. And then this one in the middle, that is the Church of the Angry Christ, no? And he would always comment and would always correct that it should not be the term should not be Angry Christ because the symbols are all in love, all about love. And you can notice there the big hands there, the huge hands, symbolizes the God the Father offering His Son Jesus Christ in the middle. So and then he
Yes.
would explain the iconography and so on, and the Station of the Cross around that parish church, the Saint Joseph the Worker Parish Church, are all done by a Filipino artist. And take note the uh, the statues there are not wearing Roman toga, but they are pictured as a fat officer of parang during the parang okay, during the ng pananakop ng mga Kastila ng gano'n yung kanang
Yeah.
pag So the first Filipinized saints
Yeah.
kumbaga. So and
Ah,
then
I have to add and say something personally. The that church chapel of Saint Joseph the Worker in Victorias is one of the masterpieces of Alfonso Osorio.
Afonso
He
Osorio.
painted he painted that mural, and I would highly recommend any art lover to go there and look at it, absorb it, the color, the energy, the feeling, the religious and spiritual feeling. It is so graphic in some of the paintings, first of all, on the murals, and then the carvings. It's almost like, to me, they were like woodblock carvings.
Mhm.
They're very inspiring for making, drawings and paintings and prints from, because
Mhm.
it's just an amazing uh, piece of work. I
Yeah.
can't say enough. And that I've gone there. I keep going back, and I always take all my friends, cultural and art friends, to go visit, this
Mhm.
chapel. So
Even the
next
facade is
slide.
made of it's made of mosaic, no?
Yes,
Broken
yes. Oh,
glass.
yeah. The special mosaics of the mosaic artist from, I think she's from Belgium,
Mhm.
Ida. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot her name. But there's so much to Google about it, and you can't miss it. So the what we have here is Ramon Hofileña, the tourism advocate. He was actually featured on the cover of Reader's Digest as one of the leading tour guides in the Philippines. And he was very proud to show that off. So
Yes.
that was a
He
very
was
big
featured
rate.
there in the Reader's Digest because of what he did to Silay, no? Because during
Mm,
martial law, there was a plan to widen the main streets, and to widen the main street, it means to say the demolition of the old houses along the main highway of Silay, and he organized groups filed a petition in order to stop that widening of the main streets. So that's one big, should I say, big contribution of Ramon to the city of Silay,
yes,
saving the old houses.
yes.
And for that, he was featured in the Reader's Digest. Oo.
Next slide. Um, So the Hofileña Museum now,
Yeah.
how is it? Of course, through all the years, Ramon's contributions were always very, very special, and he was well, awarded accolades and recognition for all his hard work because he was just almost an iconic cultural icon and artistic icon in Silay. So the message from the family of Tito Ramon is that the museum is open to the public now, and it will continue the advocacy of Tito Ramon to promote the museum as a place for rediscovering the past, an appreciation, an education, and hoping that it would serve as an inspiration for future visitors, collectors, and artists. So
Yeah.
that is a great way to wrap up
Mm-mm.
so briefly
Yes.
the life and inspiration of Ramon Hofileña, and you
Mm-mm.
have to come to Silay and visit the museum. But what I'd
Yes.
like to get into now, Gilbert, is the relationship, the special relationship between you and Ramon. Could you just briefly tell us a little bit about that background?
Um, so, as what I've mentioned, Ramon is really a stands as a second father to me. And when it comes to tour guiding, Ramon is not teaching you step by step, but he would always ask you to observe and do your own style, kumbaga sa tour guiding. And Ramon did not just send me to college, but he also uh, stand as a parent and a guardian when it comes to school related activities. He would attend PTA meetings, he would participate in some activities that involves guardian and so on. So me as a an orphan since then, I'm very happy to have that to be able to have that relationship with Sir Ramon. And I'm very flattered that he would always, you know, brag me when I have a some uh, achievements at school, and even to tourists whom minsan nahihiya na hindi naman kakilala na yan ang sinasabi niya sa mga tao. And with all the knowledge and lessons I've learned to Sir Ramon, one thing that stand out is that Ramon is you know, a very unselfish man. That he would share whatever he has, no, the knowledge, especially the knowledge, the information. He won't be tired of telling stories and informations about art, about his experiences. And there are also some senti moments every time we eat together, no, and he would always advise me to always do the best that I can when it comes to studies, and to always have this heart of gratitude to whatever kung anong meron tayo, sabi niya ganyan. So, and he would always share na yung kanyang mga hindi siguro na share niya sa public or not written on newspapers on what he did, no? Merong time na nag-donate siya ng kanyang sariling dugo, no? Donation like that, and he would always mayroon din siyang stories na sabi niya meron siyang nag-agaw na buhay na tinutulungan niya, pero parang hindi nakasulat sa mga papel na gano'n, no? And marami pang mga charities and na ginawa si Ramon. And yung na-highlight lang palagi yung kanyang sa arts, no? Pero mayroon din siyang mga kawang gawa na masasabi natin na worth emulating din. Kaya sa aking part naman na natulungan ni Ramon, parang sa akin naman parang ah, yung puso ko ay parang busog na busog sa ganyang mga lesson na sinasabi ni Ramon. And katulad minsan there was one time na notice ko yung kanyang yung bibig ng kasi he's fan of parang nangunguha ng damo sa kanyang garden, no? The garden of Ramon is well maintained, well manicured talaga yung garden niya. And I noticed na kanyang bibig parang hindi nagta-stop ng parang nagmo-murmuring or something like that. And then one time we are having lunch, I take the courage to ask him about it. And he revealed that he was praying the rosary. Oh,
Wow.
so wala siyang dalang katulad na sa picture na meron akong rosary ganyan, no. Pero siya yung kanyang finger siya sabi niya ganyan. And he is fan of ano, he would always tell about the stories of the Fatima, no? And he's a very Marian devotee.
Mm.
Silently, no? Sabi
Mm.
niya na he would always share that with all the operations of Mother Mary, no? With all the operations, yung sinasabi niya, Mother Mary would always ask us to pray the rosary. So sabi niya, parang ako
Yeah.
na-struck ako doon. sabi ko sa kanya kasi ako
And
parang
and
nagpupunta ako
oh,
sa simbahan. Mm,
and that's what happened when you
mm,
needed to pray a lot because you
oo.
were in quarantine because of the
Mm,
pandemic. Ano
mm.
nangyari dyan? You were put, you had to be placed in quarantine, and then what happened?
So nagpositibo ako sa COVID, no, last summer. So I made a ano, parang self-quarantine sa bahay. May nararamdaman ako. So yung sinabi ko yung aking family, pinauwi ko muna sa sila. Then dito sa Bacolod, ako mag-isa. Then after couple of days, I feel better na, sabi ko ganon. Pero when I had my swab, still positive. So kaya the next day nakibot lang ako na mayroong ambulance sa harap ng bahay to pick me up. So walang preparation and all. And then I was the first one to be confined in that quarantine facility, in
Ah,
Reservias
okay.
facility. So parang sa akin naman na as a family man, no, na would always look into the welfare of my family. So parang sa akin naman na parang tubli dagok yung nangyari sa akin kasi akala ko okay na lahat, no. And then
Yeah, yeah.
mm,
So
so
the next slide, you started to do something.
mm,
How did this happen?
okay. So yung ideya naman ng pagkakaroon ng art therapy para sa mga co-patient ko na nandoon sa loob, ng mga COVID patients din, ay nagmula sa aking parang godfather ko sa kasal na si Moises Bonache. So siya yung nagbigay sa akin ideya na mag-ano lang, kumuha ka ng kahit lapis or papel na you can just draw anything, makita mong flowers and butterflies. Para sa akin daw okay naman, parang nakakalimutan mo yung bagot, yung fear, na anong mangyayari sa iyo pagkatapos or magwo-worsen ka ba sa loob or yung makakalabas ka ba ng buhay ng gano'n, no? So it helps, no, na para ma-divert yung aking attention. So sabi ko sa sarili ko, hala, parang sa akin effective ito, no? Why not I would share it to everybody. That's why I take courage to reach out to Sir Charlie ko, no, yung sa Art Hills nila na project. Sila yung una kong tinawagan na baka matulungan na ako nila kahit simpleng mga art materials lang na pwede kong maibahagi sa mga sa mga co-patients ko. So
Yeah.
and I'm very lucky, no, right, the next day nagpadala sila kaagad ng mga art materials. And so sabi ko magaganda naman yung parang output ng mga pasyente, no, at saka kahit
Oo.
yung 3-year-old nag-ano. So I organized a quarantine
Oo.
art exhibit.
Oo.
Oo,
So let's take a look.
mm.
Next slide.
Um,
Oh.
yeah, the next slide I think, yung
Oh.
isa pa.
Oo.
Mm.
Um,
Next, yeah, yan, ganyan. So, yan yung opening ng aming yung opening ng aming quarantine art exhibit. So, yung mga obra ng mga pasyente ay nakalagay sa hallway. And then, of course, we are not allowed to roam around yung first floor. Dapat yung mga taga second, third floor, meron din silang doon nakalagay yung kanilang mga artwork. So,
dami.
lahat kami ay na-involved sa art therapy. And parang nagkaroon kami ng community sa loob ng facility. Instead na mabagot kami at saka yung malungkot kami sa aming sitwasyon, nagkaroon kami ng parang community na we have to support each other, we have to encourage each other. Kasi iba-iba yung kaso, merong malala, merong okay, merong bagong bata, no. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Oo. And
and
then
merong mga matatanda.
you did
Yeah.
a special show. Let's go
Mm-mm.
back one slide.
Oo.
Mm.
So this is the art exhibit for a cause in Ayala Mall. So of course ang kanyang main goal nito ay para maka-raise ng fund in order to support the advocacy, which I am still doing it now, no? So
Mm.
ito ay mga obra ng mga local artists dito sa Bacolod, no? From AAB, Art Association of Bacolod, we have the Orange Project artists, and some independent artists din. So, ang
Yeah.
ganda kasi it opens a door for everybody to appreciate the artworks. At the same time, yung mga artist na nandito sa Bacolod, parang they're very eager to help. Just kahit alam naman nila na pandemic ngayon, and the sales and so on, hindi ganun tarang 100% na sure, no? So pero they're very willing to send the message that
Yeah.
mental health is very important nowadays, especially during
Yes.
this pandemic. So I think we reached the goal of making a community awareness about the importance
Yeah.
of mental health.
Oh, that's so good. That's like a perfect ending to the relationship that Ramon started with you, no? Inspiring you and being
Yes,
so generous. And then it helped you also think about other people, inspiring others and sharing with others what you have. So
yes,
that's an excellent, passing through
yeah.
of the
Just
generation.
yeah, I would just like to thank the people also behind this exhibition, the Hofileña Casids. They're
Hmm.
really very generous enough to provide me with some finances in order to be able to come up with this, buy all
Mm.
those panels and so on. So they are at parang nasa likod ko sila na na
Yeah, yeah,
tumutulong.
yeah.
Siguro sa
So,
thinking nila parang output ito si Gilbert ni Rabot. So parang in our way, in my own understanding, I'm very happy and I'm very grateful sa nila ni Ma'am Lisa, ng yes, yung nag-support sa akin, Sir Gerard, no, and Sir Rick
oo.
also,
Oo,
from the
this is
Hokulanya family, no, very
tama,
thankful sa
tama.
kanila.
We'll go on to the last slide, I think.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
this is the memorial tribute, to a very special man, the Ramon Hofileña. And we also want to thank all the people that who gave permission to use their photographs because, Gilbert, I know you tried to go to the museum to try to take pictures, but, it's so hard when everything is shut down with a pandemic. So I wanted to thank very much the contributions by the family of Ramon Hofileña. And that's by his nephew, Gerard Hofileña Jimena, and the Hofileña Museum, to Mrs. Beth Gaston Puy, to the Christiana Campos, who was the writer and researcher, and then to all those who helped uh, give permission for their photographs from their Facebook articles and blogs. And so we have Benji Layo, AJ Polikit, Larry Tronco, and
we
to Elmer Valenzuela.
yeah, we also thank Sir Rene, the younger brother of Ramon, for allowing
Yes,
us to get into the museum, even though it's
yes,
pandemic, and take pictures
yes,
and
yes.
read some information about Sir Ramon. Thank you, Sir Rene.
So thank you very much, Gilbert. Your stories are very inspiring, but they're also very local, for us here in Negros to appreciate Ramon. So I wanted to thank you very much for sharing with us the stories and especially, the ideas of art
Mhm.
advocacy, art appreciation, and then relatedly also printmaking. So thank you,
Yes.
Gilbert. Madamo gid nga salamat.
So,
Before I let everybody go, and I want to be checking for some questions, no, for Q&A. Let me just announce a couple more things because we are towards the end na of the Limbag Kamay Contemporary Print Fair. We have two more talks tomorrow, Sunday, 10 o'clock. We have the Pressing Matters Printmaking and Activism, featuring political cartoonist and printmaker Jose Chong Ardevilla and contemporary printmaking's pioneer grandmaster na sa amon, sa amin, si Virgilio Pandi Aviado. And it'll be moderated by printmakers Anton Villaruel and Hershey Malinis. Afterwards, we have a very special presentation also through the Ateneo Art Gallery. It's called the Expanded Printmaking Part 2, a sequel. It looks into non-traditional and experimental approaches to printmaking employed by leading printmakers in Southeast Asia. So we will feature Thai printmaker Kitikong Tilokwatanotai, Filipino printmaker Ambi Abanyo, and Malaysian printmaker Juhari Said. Now, I know, Gilbert, you've been interested in printmakers since we started talking, no? So I would
So
highly recommend that you
I
have to
will.
register. You have to register on Zoom
Okay po. Okay,
so
sige
that
po.
you can attend this printmaking special feature. And it's a sequel. So you'll have to go back to the Ateneo Art Gallery's YouTube channel to see
Mm,
the first printmaking, expanded printmaking talk that was run earlier this year. This is expanded printmaking part 2. So
part 2.
register at the Zoom. So, everyone, this is the last 2 days to view our exhibition at Limbag Kamay Prints on cartolino.com. And we will be running this until October 25, Monday. And then we hope to have a big Zoom e-party and thank you. Gilbert, come join us on the evening of Monday. We will have a
Sige.
nice big celebration online so that we can, end the whole fair, treat, toast, and greet our friends, our new friends in printmaking. I would not have known you. I would not have met you, Gilbert. And so I
Mm.
do want to thank you because now I hope to see more of you here in Silay when it's safe. No?
Yes, sige
Um,
po.
no? So do you have any questions about printmaking? Just feel free to ask me. But right now, oh, we have one question, and this is from Mars Agripay. When Bacolod opens up, will tourists be able to follow the tours that Sir Hofileña used to host? Like a DIY tour of the sorts? Ano sa imo, Gilbert? Ano kaya?
Mm. Actually, this is already a long plan with the Association of Tour Guides of Negros Occidental to replicate and to continue the tour of Ramon. So maybe in the near future, we hope and we pray that the spirit of Ramon will be with us,
Mm-mm,
together with
mm-mm.
the help of the family, the Hofilen family, who is very supportive in all the activities that will promote and will help promote the advocacies of Ramon Hofileña. So Ma'am Mars, I hope that we can get in touch so that I can also somehow give you an idea about it.
Good, good. I hope that people will check out the Hofileña Museum Facebook page because
Yeah.
they do announce and put out their news alerts about programs and so on. And when visitors come now to Negros, and that's the Bacolod metropolitan area, I'm going to put in a plug for the various cultural and tourism and good food and heritage homes that
Yes.
anybody can visit on their own or with a tour guide. And there are many good tour guides accredited,
Yes.
by the Department
Yes.
of Tourism. And to me personally, if you're a printmaker and you come to town, you must say hello to me. I will, give you some recommendations about what to do, but you have to say hello to me, Angela Silva. Here we have another comment. Thank you for sharing. Community based art therapy is very insightful and very relevant during this time. So, what you're
Yeah.
doing, Gilbert, is
Yeah,
really
thank you,
good.
Sir Magno, for appreciating that initiative. I know we can also do this in different parts of the Philippines. It really doesn't need na ako talaga yung mag ano, and really just throwing the stone, no, and to for the ripple effect para
Oo,
sa lahat
tama,
ng mga tao
tama.
na give
Mm,
importance to our mental health, especially during this pandemic,
yeah,
no? And it's not
yeah,
just really limited to those inside the quarantine facilities. Maybe without our knowing, we have also a family member who is also suffering or
yeah,
undergoing mental
yeah.
health nowadays. And art can really help. Art can really help, and it will really let us give them time to express whatever it's in their heart. So, sabi nga, wala namang mali sa art, no? And it's
Mm-mm,
our
mm-mm,
own
mm-mm,
expression.
mm-mm.
And a listening ear could also be a very big uh, would also be a big impact, especially in
Yeah.
helping people undergoing mental stress nowadays.
So actually, because of social media, also, we can meet online and we could have,
Mhm.
connections,
Yes.
yeah, being connected, and therapy, sharing techniques, even
Yeah.
just doing, drawing, painting, sketching together, and
Mhm.
even printmaking. Um,
Yes.
you know, Supplies can be, delivered and
Yes.
bought through Shopee. But as long
Yes.
as
Correct.
there's, someone like you,
Mm.
printmakers, artists who do want to, help a friend or help
Yes.
someone, pwede
Like what
over
like what
social
we
media.
did in like what we did in the advocacy, no? It's only worth 80 pesos na art kit yung binibigay namin sa bawat pasyente. So at 80 pesos, ha? At 80 pesos, at that
Yeah.
least you can already save a life.
Oh,
So,
salamat kid. That's a great way to end this. Oh, 80 pesos, you can save a life. Wow.
so
Madamo nga salamat
thank you
kid,
po Sir
Gilbert.
Ramon. No? Thank you to Sir Ramon for
Oo.
inspiring
Oo.
me and
Oo.
inspiring us all.
Oo. Thank you again. And so, to everybody, thank you for staying with us and visiting with us and listening in on this conversation of inspiration and,
Thank
you
you
know,
so much.
helping each other get through this. So,
Sige.
I'd like to say goodbye to Gilbert, and I'd like to say
Thank you so
goodbye to
much.
everybody. Ha. So, be safe out there. Halong gid ha, Gilbert. Halong ka mo.
Okay. God bless
Ingat tayo.
everyone.
Ingat tayo.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.